lifelong friend to the Palestinian people and defender of human rights. He's the independent MP for Islington North and the People's Prime Minister. Please give a very warm welcome to Jeremy Corbyn.
Thank you, my friends. Thank you all for being here on this 30th national demonstration. More than 200,000 of us on the streets of London. And my message to anyone that's sweating away in Downing Street wondering if there's anybody left who wants to be a minister in the government, we will be here as long as it takes until you change your policies. And act in the interest of humanity, not in the interest of the greed of the arms manufacturers of this world. As I've said at previous demonstrations, we tried to get a bill through Parliament to set up an independent public inquiry into British government policy. They opposed it, they blocked it, and they said they wouldn't have such an inquiry. And so we held our own tribunal over the last 2 days. We held it in Church House, Westminster, and I want to say a huge thank you to Niamh Gordon and Shahid Hamouri for joining me as the people assessing the evidence we took. We heard from 29 expert witnesses. A report will be produced, a video will be produced, and many of you are probably following it online over the 2 days. It was, for any observer, a deeply harrowing experience, as we had brilliant, dedicated people giving witness statements of what they'd seen going on. Victoria Rose, a brilliant medic who was there with the wonderful Nick Maynard, who spoke earlier, described how operating on children without anaesthetic or indeed even antiseptic, he said all you could hear all night afterwards was the screaming voices of children in the recovery room trying to cope with the horrendous pain they've been through, and they had absolutely nothing at all to give them, not even a paracetamol to try and reduce that pain. We had Mark Smith, a very brave man who used to work in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. He was told to dumb down reports because they were too horrific of what was being described and what was going on in Palestine with the use of British weapons. He refused to be told what to say and what to write, so he resigned his position in order to keep his integrity. We heard from a brilliant American academic, Raz Segal, who spoke to us online from the USA and described what is happening in Gaza, and I use his words, textbook genocide. And he spoke on behalf of an association of genocide scholars. We heard from Matt Kennard, who's done so much brilliant work in supporting the Palestinian people, who provided us with a video and information about what is actually happening at RAF Akrotiri. But he also told us that the bases in Cyprus owned by the Cypriot government are also being used as part of the support mechanism to the Israeli armed forces. That makes Cyprus also complicit in the genocide that is going on in Gaza. This was confirmed also by Nikos Charmousselitis from Cyprus, who has been part of the campaign to close down RAF Akrotiri. And what Matt was able to tell us was that the circular flights over Gaza indicate that all that information is nothing to do with humanitarian interests or observation, which is what David Lammy told me only 5 days ago. It's all about providing backup information to assist the IDF in guiding its F-35 jets in their genocidal missions of destroying people's homes in Gaza. The truth came out in our tribunal this week. We also heard from Faiz Khan, solicitor for James Henderson's family, James Henderson, an aid worker who was killed in Gaza. He asked the RAF to provide the information on the flights they had taken, which would show what was happening on the ground at the time that poor James lost his life. He's been refused that information and refused that to assist him in trying to get the truth about his client's death there. We also heard from Francesca Albanese about complicity in war crimes. And I think we should just pause for a moment and thank Francesca Albanese for her bravery in speaking out always on all of this. And we heard also from Isle Weitzman, from Forensic Architects, who made a superb and brilliant presentation and was able to point out that the Riviera plan that President Trump has in line for Gaza, it's not some dream for the future. What he told us was it's actually happening now. The clearing of areas along the border between Gaza and Israel, the bombardment and destruction of all the large buildings in Gaza City, the creation of planning zones, and also pointed out that the hardcore that's being moved around and used by the Israeli Defense Force, they haven't bothered even to search it for the bodies that are in it. The foundations of those buildings will literally contain the bones and blood of Palestinians who've been murdered by the genocide. That is the horror story that's going on. We heard from many, many others who gave incredible witness statements, and they will all be available in the video, in the report, and online. You heard just now from Abu Bakr Abed, wonderful young man who's suffered grievously and still suffers because he's dreaming every single moment of his wonderful family in Gaza and wondering if they are surviving. But what he said to me, and he said at our inquiry, was that if the world's media had done their job properly, the genocide would have stopped last year. Because basically, much of the world's media companies are actually complicit in what is going on. And whilst we got quite good coverage of the tribunal this week, there was one thing that was missing on Thursday, on the day of the tribunal. Not one word on the BBC. Not one word. Every other outlet carried either a report or some live coverage of it. And so we are here again, and we'll be here again and again. The reality is, children are being killed and starved to death. Genocide is taking place. Britain is complicit in what is going on by the supply of weapons and political support. The President of Israel is apparently due here this week. I think he's on the wrong flight. He should be on his way to The Hague, not here. And so all over the world we march, we protest, we take part in peaceful action to try to stop this horrible genocide going on. And I've just learned a new figure today, that across the world, the followers add up to 1 billion of those people on social media who support the Palestinian cause. We're not isolated, we're not